Hello everyone and welcome back. Last week I watched Cat's Eye. I got the Steelbox edition Cat's Eye. Louis Teague was the director. It was a good movie, so I decided to give another Louis Teague movie a shot. I'd already seen this. I have this movie to begin with. This is a good movie. Just already. Even before I watched it for the review, I knew it was a good movie. I knew I already liked it. This is a version I have. It's kind of this, it's got this plastic cover on it. And actually, it was cool when I got it, but it kind of got sticky right here where they used to put tape on the movies to kind of protect them. So now whenever I pull it out, it has like a funky, it messes up. I don't like my copy, what can I say? But I mean, at least it's a copy. I haven't watched it in a while, so I was able to watch it at least with some sort of fresh eyes. I was able to get a lot more out of it, which was a good thing because there's a lot in the story here that I kind of missed. But first, let's backtrack. To start things off, Cujo gets rabies. He's a rabid dog. He's not just an evil dog. Maybe watching the movie for the very first time, you might think Cujo is like an evil dog, because Cujo is kind of an evil-sounding name, but he's actually just a regular friendly dog who has rabies. So we eventually meet a little boy named Tad. He's one of our main characters. He's scared of the dark, and he thinks that there's a monster living in his closet. I guess every night when he goes to bed, he has this race where when he turns off the lights, he has to race to his bed before the monster gets him. Now, what I learned from the commentary track is when he finally turns the lights off, the whole set was actually built again 3 times larger. So all the distances are 3 times farther than what they were before. The next morning, we get introduced to Steve, and it turns out that the wife, Donna, is having an affair with Steve. And for some reason, he wakes her up with a trombone. I don't know why, but there you have it. Now, the effects of the affair are actually kind of documented in the movie. You can see at the dinner table, there's a very awkward silence that's going on. There's a beam going in between each of the characters, like there's some sort of wall in between all 3 characters. And the camera zooms in to Tad in the middle, does a little dance or a song, and kind of goes and embraces his father, and that kind of breaks the tension, and they all laugh, which is a very sweet moment. A surprisingly sweet moment for like a rated R horror flick. And that's what this movie does so well. This movie, it's a drama about, a family and the struggles they're going through during a time that a wife is having an affair. And you can see the impact on the husband, you can see the impact on the son, and you can see the impact especially on Donna, the wife, who is having the affair. She feels guilty. She feels remorse. So she actually goes to Steve's house to call the affair off. So she's had enough. So after Donna calls off the affair, she gets questioned on it by Vic, and she actually admits to it. So now he knows. Shortly after that, Vic runs into some trouble at work, so he has to go on a work trip to take care of some business, knowing that his wife had an affair. This is just an interesting dynamic, and the fact that this movie even goes into this realm is fantastic. Like I said, it's almost like a drama. It's almost like a dramatic movie. An affair, and then there's a breakup. He doesn't trust her, but she wants him back. Now he has to leave, and it really helps you invest in the characters. You're starting to really know these characters and what they are struggling with as people. And it's that human element in a horror movie that when the horror finally starts to happen, it has weight to it. And that's what this movie does. And by the final act, you are just so engrossed into these characters that it hurts that much more. Meanwhile, we still got Cujo. And Cujo is still becoming more and more rabid. His symptoms are starting to show. He's starting to become very irritable. Like, for instance, when this guy is trying to throw things away in his giant garbage pile. By the way, look at what is going on here. Where are these people? Where do they live? Who keeps their garbage like that? Is a garbage man going to come and just pick this up? Well, it's making a lot of noise and it bothers Cujo. So Cujo shows up, and this is where we have one of our first kills. And I heard that they were not going to use a Saint Bernard for this movie because Saint Bernards are just too friendly. They wanted to use a different dog. Well, I am so glad that they kept what Stephen King had written. I mean, look how big this dog is. This is a big guy, and Cujo just stands up on his hind legs and just goes at him and just dwarfs this guy. The size of this Saint Bernard and the menace of this dog really comes to life in this scene. So at this point, we have the setup for the finale of the movie. The dad's away, so the mom has to take the son herself in their little beat up Pinto back to the mechanic to get some work done on the car. And this is kind of where the rest of the movie takes place. And the very first encounter that the mom and the son have with Cujo is probably one of the best jump scares in any movie. When the car pulls up, you get a point of view shot from inside the barn. So already you get a sense that something's coming. The son is having trouble with the seatbelt. So she has to help him with the seatbelt. The door is wide open. So you're expecting the jump scare to come from that side. But it doesn't. Cujo jumps onto the window on the boy's side. And this is the point where you just throw whatever you're eating onto the ceiling because you're not expecting it. You're not expecting it to come from that side. And the reactions, let me just tell you, the boy who plays Tad, his reactions, oh my God. I was so convinced that he was terrified of this dog. If he wasn't terrified from this dog in real life and has PTSD for all St. Bernards, this kid is a wonderful actor. I mean, just look at some of these reactions. At this point, the mom's thinking, I gotta do something. She gets out, and we get kind of a cheap scare here where she kind of leans over to look under the car, and there's nothing there, but then it's behind her. It's kind of a cheap shot. But it's leading up to one of my favorite shots of the movie. She gets back into the car. Cujo gets in after her. And by the way, the kid has some fantastic scenes again. He looks terrified. So she beats him off of her, and the camera, it keeps spinning until it's a blur as she kind of fades to unconsciousness. I mean, what a great visual for just kind of things spinning out of control. So then a cop arrives, as if that's going to save the day. Cop arrives, and he gets attacked. And then you see the gun fall. So already I'm thinking, okay, right, we're going to use this gun. So I already kind of know what the finale is going to be, right? Like I see this one coming. But that's not quite how it goes. At this point, they've been there for days. This mom, she's got to do something. So she gets out of the car, and she starts to go to the house or something to get some help. But she runs into Cujo. And rather reaching for the gun, which we all know is there, she grabs the baseball bat and she starts beating Cujo so much that it breaks. And she ends up using the broken off handle to impale Cujo. Not quite what I was expecting, but okay. But she does grab the gun to break the window to the car. The car was locked and she couldn't get back in. So I guess that's kind of cool. The gun ended up being used anyway, so that kind of made me happy. So she finally gets her son out of the hot car and brings him into the house, and it looks like it's going to be a happy ending from there. But oh no, no, no. Cujo jumps through the window, and now we have the opportunity to use that gun the way we were expecting to use it, which was a very satisfying kill for Cujo. And that's how the movie more or less ends. We don't really get all the aftermath of what happens, to the son, to the wife, to the husband, to the marriage. But the fact that I care so much tells you how good this movie is in character development. This is a horror movie, and by the end of it, I really want to know more about these characters that I've been watching for the last hour and a half. Now, the ending of the movie and the book are different, and Stephen King actually made the change himself. He said that the ending to the book would have been too depressing in a movie. What do you think? Which ending do you like better? Do you think Stephen King was right? Do you wish the movie had the same ending as the book? I'm going to try and keep videos coming once a week, so if you want to stay up to date on what I'm watching, go ahead and subscribe and give me a like. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep watching movies.